Hello, it's McRob here, and welcome to the second of my build videos of my new Tamiya Fighter NXGEN two-wheel drive off-road buggy. Today we're going to be running through parts bag B, hopefully, but the 17 to 40, so I might split this into two. I'll see how I go. Anyway, we'll get straight in with step 17, the steering linkage. So, yeah, we need a ball joint, check the orientation, and the ball joint goes in there. Like that. And then we need two of these 10mm machine screws. Right, we're not going to do that on camera. So, once you've screwed the screw in, you put one of these ball joints over the top and tighten that up. We then need part B10 with these ball races that do actually come with the kit, and these weird flat-headed screws. So they go in there and through there, obviously, and screw into B10s. So I'll get all of that done and show you. Right then, this is what you should end up with. Steering linkage, all freely moving, with 3 ball joints. So with that we can nip on to step 18, which is simply making up the turnbuckles, and they are actually turnbuckles, so oof, look at that for a dinky little one. Oh dear. So right, turnbuckles. To attach the ball joints you need to screw one end in with righty-tighty, but the other end, which is the longer one, as far as Tamiya is, you have to do it counterclockwise, so it's lefty-tighty. But there we go. So yeah, once you get to a certain point you need to grab some pliers. We grab the pliers and just start to screw in. So I'll get that done. What you need to do is note that the ball joint holes are offset on both of these, and yeah, they're basically offset on all of them. So yeah, I'll carry on and get back to you. Okay, once you've made up the turnbuckles, you should check to make sure you've got the ball openings in the correct orientation, and they do tell you that there's a right and a left. So with that we can move on to step 18, which is attaching all the steering linkage. So I've already started with the little servo one, and then you need to check your orientation to install the right one, which is this one. Yep. And you need to check the orientation so it goes on something like that. And then the left one goes on the same way, so the longer bit sort of to the left. And although it shows using pliers, as you've just seen, it's not always necessary. And then we need some bearings. Oops. In these steering arm things. We then need part Dubli M5 and some spacers that go in like that, and obviously I'm going to have to do it all in one. So bearings go in, and quite a nice fit, not too tight, not too loose, and again checking, and then they pop over hopefully like so, and then we got this B5 piece, and that goes like that, and then we got two 20mm machine screws that screw in, and there's a couple of notes to tell you to cut the mould tree off carefully there on these two plastic B8 pieces, and then tells you not to over tighten for a smooth operation. So I'll finish that off and get back to you for the next step. And this is what you should end up with. Lovely freely moving steering linkages. So we can move on to quickly do steps 20 and 21, the upper and lower wishbones. Again, just check that you're putting them the right way round. Let me just get this right. Yeah, so that goes there. Now this one's going to be a bit tricky because you've got to put them both in at the same time with this U-bolt thing. Easier than I thought. So that's step 20, and step 21 is doing the same thing. I've lost me wishbones. There they are, I haven't cut them out, oh well. So we've got part M6, and again we need to check which way round they go, and they should just slip through there with a 32mm screw pin both sides like that. So again, happen, we'll carry on. Okay, step 22 is joining both the front ends together, or making up the front bulkhead as it's called. However, there's a great big mistake apparently in this first step with the 15mm self-tapper, and it shows it going in, if we come over, shows it supposedly going in that hole there, but it's too big. So if we turn it round, it needs to go in that hole there once you've connected it to this, obviously, like so. So it goes in, great big hole there. So that's that bit. And then we've got this part F12, which screws in, yeah, underneath here. And we need to make sure, yeah, that this U-bolt thing is held firmly in place. And then we got two 18mm at the front, there and there, and then one 12mm at the rear. And once you've done that, you can move on to M1, and that will go somewhere around there, with two 10mm screws in there and there. So I'll carry on with them now. And again, this is what you should end up with. There's a steering and both wishbones, stroke A-arms, and a little bumper. There then. We're up to steps 23, 24, 25, which again is making up the front shocks. So these are the components to make one up. We've got the body, the top, the bottom, two O-rings to hopefully help stop the oil leaking out, the ball connector, and the piston rod and piston, and the clip to hold the spring in. So again, I'm not going to go through this because I've done it so many times on other videos, so bear with me. Oh, just before, one thing I've not seen before is, or I don't remember seeing before, is they've got a measurement of how far to screw in the ball joint. So you need to be 17mm. I'm assuming that's accurate 1-to-1. Yeah, there you go, so you can measure it up with that. So, see you in a bit. Okay, and here are the front shocks. A bit smaller, still quite a bit of damping. However, although the note here just says, you know, put the spacers on as you wish, and normally I wouldn't bother until I'd built it, finished building the whole kit, but these springs are a bit loose, so I've decided that at the minute I'm just going to put in the middle spacer, and there we go. I think it's just about holding it enough. The problem is if they're too loose, these clips holding the spring in can come off, and believe me, I've had that. So I'll get the bits ready and we can move on to 26. Step 26 is making up the front axles, as they call it. You need to check, and you need to use B2 for the right side and B3 for the left side, and then you also need to check the orientation of B1, and I don't know if you'll see it there, but there's a ridge that runs over the top on, and basically it goes in there with your kingpins. And then I'm not sure, oh yeah, you should be able to. So we could put these two, what do they call them? Oh yeah, they do call them a kingpin. Cool. And the other one goes in on that, if you can get them to start off properly, but we won't go into that. And then we need your axle, either a ball race, and that pops through there, and the second one goes on the other side. And because they're not that tight a fit, there's an R-clip to keep it all in place. And then we've got this ball joint that goes in there, which is, again, it's a type of plastic, I think. It's quite hard to start these threads off. So once you've done that, this is the right hand side, so that's what you should end up with. So I'll get on and then we can move on. Step 27 is installing the front axles onto the front bulky head thingy doobly and a shock tower. So I believe it goes that way around, yes. So it's just a, he says, it's just a simple case for now of mounting the axle with the wishbone A-arms, there we go, with these screw pins, and then the damper stay screws in to there. There we go. With 4 12mm screws. One, another one there, and the same the other side, so we'll crack on with them. Okay, so there we have the front axles installed, ready to go. And just before I move on to step 28, I forgot to tell you about these ball joints. They go into the outer holes by default, but there is another hole so that you can adjust them, and the same for the bottom shock mounts. So with that, it's time to install the shocks on step 28. Now, right, let's turn that round so we can see. We have a shock mount or a ball joint here. There we go. Now the tricky bit is going to be keeping that brass collet in place. There we go. Sorry I can't show you this, but it'll just keep falling out. So once you've got it in the bottom mount, oh, there we go. And we can screw that up, and then we can do the other side. There's also installing, while I think about it, the steering arms, which I can do. So I'll carry on, and I might end the video here, I don't know yet. Okay my friends, well, it seems that step 28 is the last step of parts bag B. However, I was a bit confused until I'd worked out that you can make a long wheelbase or short wheelbase version. So it doesn't tell you, unless I haven't read it all properly. But it appears from the box art that it's running the short wheelbase, because you've got the wishbones, A-arms on the top, whereas with the long wheelbase you have the turnbuckles, and the wishbones are the opposite way round. So hey, with that, there's me front end done, and that, as far as I'm aware at the minute, is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching and look forward to seeing you for Parts Bag C. Thanks for watching, bye!